at this meeting. Okay. You guys should see something that says I'm recording. So tonight, welcome to the second class of Construction 246 on Revit. Just a quick heads up, we will not have class next Monday. We have a holiday. It's Martin Luther King Day. Okay, so we will not be meeting next Monday. The next time we will meet is, what is it, 27th? Yeah, so the next time we'll meet is Monday the 27th. All right. So today we're going to get into it. We're going to get into some meat and potatoes of Revit. However, we need to do a couple housekeeping things first. So I want you to open up Revit 2024 or 2025, whatever you have downloaded. And we're just all going to get to the splash screen together. So it might take you a second to open. I don't know why mine's stalling on me. That was weird. Now it's opening two of them. Okay, it's just taking a minute. So we'll give you a second to get that open. When you get to the splash screen, give me a thumbs up on in the chat or whatever, or on your Zoom, so I know that you're ready. What we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be going through and working on building a template for us, which will allow us to get started right off the bat every day. Okay, instead of having to go through and clean up a bunch of stuff. Last week when we opened Revit, we noticed that there was a lot of extra schedules, all these extra views, right? There was tons of stuff that was created just by default of of the template that we chose, right? So today we're gonna go ahead and create our own template and then work from there. So let me know when everyone's on the splash screen. I've seen one thumbs up. So the splash screen should be this. Oh, sorry, here we go. Let me put this up here. The splash screen should look like this. Okay. Again, I'm in 24. You'll be in 25. It's the same program. Okay. Oh, Dimitri's here. Right on. Okay, let me get you checked in. Is there anyone else that just showed up? Okay, Dimitri. There we go. All right. So everyone get on the splash screen. All right, so we're gonna wait for a minute, let everyone get to the splash screen because this is a little bit tricky, okay? So there's a few steps that I want to follow today that we need to make sure that we're following along. I don't know how many times that this step gets messed up. Seems like every semester somebody does it wrong. And it's really important to get this set up right so then that way we can move forward super efficiently every week. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, okay, is everyone on the splash screen? We here in class yet? Oh, what's that doing? You might need to go to. Oh, okay, you're good. You're good. So then, yeah, just stay there for now. You're good. What's that? The way you want to do it. We'll save a template and then you can use the template. Yeah. So if you're on this computer or on your laptop, we'll end up saving the template and you can open it back on the computer. Okay. You able to get in? No. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So what I want to do, okay, is we're going to go ahead and click this new button. Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to create a new file. And when I click this new button, we're going to get another pop-up that comes up that says, hey, do you want to create a new project from the Imperial Multidiscipline? And that's what we did last time. Okay. is we just created a new project. And when we got in there, we opened up that project and we had all types of garbage we had to sort through, or we just tried to ignore, right? So what I want to do is I want to set up this template and I want to choose template file and I want to create a new project template. Okay, so come over here and click the radial button that says project template, not the project. Okay, so we're going to be opening a new Imperial multidiscipline template and we're going to save it as a project template. Does that make sense? And then we're going to go ahead and click OK. And give it a minute to do its thing. It'll come up. Now, first things first, my screen probably looks a little different than your screen, right? Mine's white. I don't know if yours is black or not, but let's go ahead and come up here to the File Options button. And we're going to go down to Colors. And I want you to change your canvas color scheme to light. Okay, we can make it dark. We can make it light. If it's dark, it's going to look like this. Which if you used AutoCAD, you're kind of used to using a dark background. In Revit, it is much preferred to use the white background, especially once you start utilizing other people's links. So we're going to go ahead and click this options button, go to colors, and turn that canvas color scheme to light. So once again, let me go ahead and hit cancel. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to go up to File, come down to this Options button. And then I'm going to go to the third tab down, or the third option down, which is Colors. And now one thing that you'll notice is when I change this, it changes some stuff for me. It might not for you, but I want to set this up so we're all looking at it the same. So we want to click this canvas color scheme and let's change it to light. And then I want you guys to take your selection and your pre-selection colors and make them magenta. So you can click on this, just click into the color. It'll bring up this palette. This custom color down here at the bottom right is magenta. It's also the second row all the way to the right. Okay, yep, click into selection and set it as magenta, and also pre-selection and set it as magenta. Just going to allow you. So what this is doing is it's changing it from this kind of slight blue color to when you select something, it turns pink, and it really stands out. It makes you know exactly what you're selecting. There's no second guessing. After a decade of this, I will never go to any other color for my selections because you just can see what's going on when you hover over it. So any questions? Does everyone's look like this now? Light color scheme. We got a white background, which is going to automatically happen when you change the color, the canvas color scheme to light. And then we want to change the selection and pre-selection to magenta. Okay. When I click OK, we should now see something like this, where, okay, it is white and it's saving all those settings. All right. So real quick, does everybody have at the top of their screen, if you go to the very, very top, does it say 2024 or 2025, whatever Revit version, template 1? So it says that template 1, okay? I want right now, I want you to go and click File, Save As, and we're going to come down here to this template button. Now, it's already a template, but we haven't saved it, okay? So we're going to click this File, Save As Template. and I want you to browse to wherever you're going to keep your files for this class. So I've got a folder on my desktop called Edmonds. Oh, not that one. I got a folder on my desktop called Edmonds. I then have a winter 2025, right, for this class. And I'm going to save this right here as construction 246 winter 25 template. Yep. You can, I wouldn't save it to your desktop. I don't know where you need to save it if you want to try to get, you can save it to your desktop, it's fine. But if you want to pull it off and put it on that other computer, you might want to just email it to yourself or, okay, yep. Okay. All right. So again, we want to save that file somewhere that you know where it's saving to. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. And I already saved one earlier today. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and replace it. You guys won't get that error that comes up. And you'll notice now at the top, it says construction 246 winter 25 template, right? Or whatever yours says, right? It should say something like that. Now, whenever we make a save, it's going to save over the top of that template. Okay, so as we go and we doctor this whole thing up and we get rid of all the extra views and sheets and all the garbage we don't want, anytime you hit save, it's going to save that template. Okay. So let's go ahead and just start getting rid of stuff. We want to create a blank canvas for us. So what I want to do is I want to start by coming here to this view tab. And I'm going to create a new plan view. So if I go to the view tab and I click on the drop down on this plan view, it'll allow me to choose a bunch of different types. Okay, I just want to create a floor plan, so I could do that just by clicking on the icon, but I was just showing you the other options. Okay, so we're going to create a floor plan. And you'll notice right off the bat, it's saying, hey, there's nothing for me to create. Because you've got this little checkbox down here that says do not duplicate existing views. And we're going to take that checkbox off. And now the two levels that are already built into the project will come back up. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to build our own brand new level 1 architectural floor plan. And then we can wipe everything else out. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. You'll see that now this is just called L1. It comes into your architectural floor plans. And I'm just going to rename this construction 246. Okay. And yes, I want to respond level and views. No, I do not. Okay. I don't want to call the level 246. I just want to call it level 1. You're lost. Okay. So we should have one view that says level 1 construction 246. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And we're going to do it one more time for any of you that got lost. Okay. I can help you email it to yourself. Don't worry about the file set. We just need to continue to work on the template. Okay. Because if we don't follow along now, it's a struggle the whole time. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. So all of this is recorded. It'll be posted. But it is pretty important to try to continue to follow along in class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create this one more time by going to my view tab, clicking on this plan views and floor plan. Now, when I clicked on that floor plan right here, there's a checkbox that says do not duplicate. By the way, that's the worst seat in the class to sit in because you can't see this screen. So I don't know if you want to move computers, but I think that would be pretty advantageous for you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wherever you know where it is, so I don't know if it's on the desktop, don't put it in your documents, that's fine, but just remember where it's at. I put it somewhere that you will know where it's at, not just my documents. So that is construction 246. No. One thing, guys, we need to let me finish my whole sentences before clicking an OK button. Okay, so somebody in the lab, we're trying to get their template set up, and I'm asking them to save it, and we're going through the template save process, and they find the folder they want to put it into, and they just click save. They didn't rename it. Okay, we need to make sure that we're walking through and going through the whole process, not trying to jump ahead because, oh, I know what to do, because we don't necessarily. Okay, there's a lot of little steps. There's a lot of things that we're going to rename. There's a lot of things that we need to change. Okay, so I'm going to take this do not duplicate. Did you get that saved? Okay, so now I want you, now we're here. Okay, so go up to your view tab in the ribbon. I want to click this plan views. We're going to click this and create a new floor plan. Okay, and then I want to take the do not duplicate check box off, and we're going to create a new level 1 floor plan. Okay, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to right click on it and rename it, and I'm just going to call it construction level 1 construction 246. And when I hit enter, it's going to say, hey, would you like to rename the corresponding levels and views? And no, we don't want to rename all of the levels to say construction 246. We just want it to say level 1. Okay. But now that's on there, and it's very easy for us to identify which is the view that we created. Just a second, Daniel. And then now that we have this one, this is the view that is our most important view in here now. Okay. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, I don't have under properties or whatever. I don't have the same properties as you do. Like mine doesn't look the same. I was just wondering maybe if I'm doing something wrong.
So do you have a project browser here?
No, I don't. I don't have a project browser.
So right click into any of this white area,
Okay.
go down to browsers and make sure your project browser is checked.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Did that snap over here?
Yeah. I have that now.
Okay, right on. Okay, so there's 2 bars on the left-hand side that we've got. Okay, for the top one typically is going to be properties. The bottom one is your project browser. Now you can take these off of here. You can move them around. You can put them on another screen. But if you take it and you bring this all the way to the left, you can see this thing turn blue. And when it turns blue, if you let go, it will dock it on the left-hand side. So now it's there, it's not going to move. If you grab your properties and do the same thing, see how when I hover there, it's only going halfway blue, right? It's the top half. Now, if I drop that there, my properties will be on the top and the project browser is on the bottom. So if that's messed up at all, you can move those around, reorder them. But if you don't have both of them, let's make sure that you have your properties check turned on and your browsers, your project browser turned on. You into the here, save as I'll figure out. Okay. Now we got a view, put this plan view. Floor plan. Put the do not duplicate existing views. Right, so then we have to choose the- Exactly. You need that view as well?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that view. One, okay. All right. You got that view? Okay. All right. Does everyone have this new construction level 1 construction 246 view that we created, the floor plan? Right? Okay. So what we're going to do now is everything else here can go away. Okay. And what I mean by that is literally everything can go away except the families. But we're going to do this together. So go ahead and I want you to right click in your project browser. And I want you to click this really cool button that says expand all. Okay, so there's this cool button right here. It says expand all. There's also a button if you right click in here and you can collapse all. Okay, so you can expand and collapse the whole thing. The project browser can get pretty overwhelming when too many things get open. So having that collapse all button is really nice to just reset yourself. Okay, so right click. So if we right click, we can, let's see, expand all. And if you right click, you can also collapse all, right? So we want to click on this view. Actually, if we hold shift and select all of these and right click, let's see, does it let me do that? It doesn't in this version. In the project browser, correct. So we want to just right click on views and then click expand all. Okay, and when you do that, everything's going to expand. Okay? All your families, all of your views, anything that was collapsed is going to expand. And we want to go all the way back up to the top. And we should have something that looks like this. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to click, if I hold control and it's in the same area, so see how this is floor plans, right? If I hold control, I can click multiple items. So if I click this one here and hold control and click the level 2, now you see that I've got 2 views selected, right? And you can see that up here in your properties too by saying, right here it says view 2 with parentheses. What we want to go ahead and do is literally hit that delete button on our keyboard. It's not the backspace button, it's the delete button underneath your insert key. And those will wipe out. Next thing, we want to click the site plan and delete. Level 1 and level 2 ceiling plans, select those and delete. Building elevations, all 4 of these. Select all 4 and delete. Working section, go ahead and delete it. Okay, we're going to get this whole thing back to really, really basic. So floor plans, working floor plan, level 1 and level 2. Let's go ahead and delete those. Cover sheet, go ahead and delete that. Lighting, L1 and L2, we can go ahead and delete those. Power, level 1 and 2, we can delete those. Lighting, reflected ceiling plans, we can delete those. Mechanical plans, we can delete those. Mechanical ceiling plan, we can delete this. Plumbing, delete both of those, and structure. And that should be it for views. So we should be left with literally just one view right here. It says views, architectural, floor plan, and then level 1 construction 246. After that, we should see legends.
Graham,
Yes,
can I
Todd.
ask, I'm getting a message that pops up and it says deleting all open views in a project is not allowed.
You're not, okay, so you're deleting that level 1 view. We need to leave that level 1 construction 246 view. That's why I had you build that. Everything else can go.
Okay. Well, it was another level 1. I guess
Okay.
it was there for some reason. Anyway,
Okay.
thanks.
So
I got it now.
sweet. So symbols, we can get rid of all of these legends, all of these schedules. Again, we can just click. You can hold shift as long as you're in the same section and delete all of those. Yes. No. No. You can try, but you won't be able to. That's why I'm saying you can highlight everything in one section, but once you go to the next section down, it will forget the stuff you had above. Okay. So schedules again, we got 3 electrical and space outdoor air schedule. Delete that. We've got all these sheets. We want to delete those. So we should now be left with something that looks just like this, where I have views. I've got 1 view. I've got nothing under legends. I've got nothing under schedules. I've got nothing under sheets. And then families, we're going to leave alone. We're not going to pull families out of the project. Anyone having issues deleting all of the excess views and schedules? They are. It's similar, but it's different. I don't have 2025, so you can, yeah, you can download whatever you want, but I'll be teaching on 24 because that's what I've got on this computer. All right. Any issues online with people deleting those other views? Okay, right
Yeah.
on.
I just like I don't have a problem deleting. I just want to make sure that that's what it's supposed to look like. Just that, like.
Just that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want you guys to have to filter through all this garbage that we're not going to use.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Let's start it like this, and then we can build upon this template, but we can build upon it as a class, not as some random template that Autodesk wanted to provide for us.
All right. Floor plans, ceiling plans, elevation.
No ceiling plans, no elevations. We want literally just your level 1 construction 246 floor plan.
Okay.
Everything else should be deleted. Should be able to put this. Hold control. I'm right clicking to delete, or you can just click.
Um,
That's right. But yeah, all this like working and structural. Those. And that's why I said right click and sample. This will show up. Well, you expand all of this. Yeah, it is. Right.
You're almost there.
Right. All right. Okay, is there anyone online that's having any issues with deleting all of those items in our project browser? Again, we should be left with just the floor plan that says level 1, construction 246. Everything under legend, sheets, schedule should all be deleted. We're good? All right. So let's go into a little bit of the inner workings of Revit. So what I'm going to show you right now is what's called visibility graphics. Ultimately, this is like your master properties for everything in this program. It's not necessarily the properties of the one thing you've got selected, right? So if I select a line, right, it's going to come up here in my properties, tell me it's a reference plane, tell me whatever it is. If I go to my visibility graphics, which is right here under view, and it's right here, the second one, well, I guess it's the third icon over, and it says visibility graphics. It's also known as VG on your keyboard shortcuts. So if I just say VG or visibility graphics, that's what that means. And we're going to go ahead and open that up. So VG, visibility graphics. Good. Hold up just a second. Just hit. So you're in view. So then the third one,
Okay.
Nope, don't hit OK, because what that does is it literally is just going to close the window. You didn't actually change anything yet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit VG, and we're going to bring this up. Now you'll notice we've got a couple tabs across the top. That's what Autodesk likes to do. And what we have in those tabs are model categories, annotation categories, analytical model categories, which we don't really care about, imported categories, which again, we're not going to really care about, and then filters. We'll get to this at some point. Okay. At this point, I want to go ahead and go all the way over to the filters, click on this one, and then just click this remove button. Okay. So I want to, once that filter is selected, it should be the only one there. So it's automatically selected, and go ahead and click this remove button. Okay. And it should say no filters have been applied to this view. Click add to apply one. Okay, we now have no filters. The other thing we want to do is I've got all these green lines out here that I don't really care to see. Okay, so let's go to this annotation categories. So the second tab over. And this is going to control anything that helps annotate. So if it's like, let's look at dimensions right there, right? So if that's checked on, it's saying dimensions are visible, right? But if I check that off and then went to dimension something, it would physically dimension it, but it would not show up because we told it to not show up, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now for annotation categories is we're going to go down to scope box and sections. And so if you go ahead and just click into anywhere and then click S, it will drop you all the way down to the S's. And we want to uncheck this scope box and these section boxes. Okay, so again, we want it, you can either get down there by scrolling down or click anywhere you want, type in S, and it should bring you right to the top S, which is schedule graphics. And we want to uncheck the scope box and section box. So real quick, there's a difference between OK and apply. The difference is if you click OK, it is going to apply the settings that you just told it, and it's going to go ahead and close this window. If you want to check while this window's open to see if this is going to be, what we're trying to do is turn these green lines off out here. So if you want to see if this actually works, we can hit this apply button and check it out and see if it works. If it works, great. Then we can click OK or continue turning other things off we don't want to see, right? I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then last but not least, I want to go and I want to select one of these section heads. Does anyone, or these elevation heads, does everyone still see those on their sheet? Okay. So if you click on one of them and then we right click and say select all instances visible in view, how many should it be grabbing? 4, right? And when I do that, I see two things. One, I see 4 circles that are pink. The other thing, I could come over here to my properties and see elevations, and I've got 4 of them, right? Anytime there's a parentheses with a number inside of it, that's telling you you have that many elements selected, right? Now, right now, I've got all of these are building elevations. Okay, you don't do what I'm going to do, but I'm going to hold control and I'm going to click these 2 lines, and you'll notice that now this here says 6, but it's no longer telling me that it's a building elevation, right? Because I got multiple different items selected. So I'm going to deselect those, but you can see that no matter what you select, it's always going to add up right there. So we want to take these elevations and literally hit that delete button, and we're going to wipe them out, and we will start over with our own elevations. What? Here. Okay, so now when I say right click, that means anywhere that's like not white space over here. We can select all instances. There's one here. Instead of 4 of those. Okay, you can see that there. That's 4. Yeah, and they're all deleted. So go ahead and let's go. Now right. Yeah, now you can select the instances. Four of them. Perfect. You good? Just click it. Just click it. Now that it's selected, that I can do it. Now that it's selected, you can see here, right? Now when I right click, I can select all instances of view, select all of those. Now one thing I'm going to set up in the second place. Let's go ahead. That way, select them. We got all the selected with this dark blue. It blends into black so easily that you don't really know if it's selected. Now, when I grab that line, you know you got it, right? All right. Does everybody have the template to this point? Is there anybody that wants me to take a look at your template? Because if we save a template with errors, we are going to continue to get those errors until we update the template. Okay, so maybe they don't have errors necessarily, but maybe you've got extra views that we don't want to see, right? My goal by creating this template is to break this down to as simple as possible in the project browser so we can start at the beginning, not start with a pre-populated mess of views and sheets and schedules that we're not going to use. Okay.
Graham, if I'm seeing the north sign and the scale, did I do something wrong?
Are you still on a sheet? Why don't you go ahead and share, Todd? If that's cool.
Yeah, if I can figure that out. Let's see here. Share.
Here, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Got it. I got it.
Okay. See if you can go ahead and share and take over. Todd is requesting allow. All right. So I'm gonna stop my share. Go ahead and share yours. Just so it doesn't try to show 2 screens and then we can't see it. So again, sometimes looking at user
You able to see
screens.
it?
Okay. So you still have, um,
Yeah, so I was trying to come in here and see if I had something still, but
You-
I don't think I do.
you don't, but where's that? So double click into there. Does anyone else see that on theirs? Because I thought that mine had gotten rid of that at this point. And it does look that way. Oh, I know why. Did you rename the original view or did you create a new one?
I created it here, L1 construction
No,
246.
yeah, but did you duplicate to create that?
That's what I was
Just
saying
yeah,
earlier. I might have on
okay.
accident.
Yeah, and I think that's why you've got that. So let's do something for you, Todd. Let's go up to, can you maximize your screen? Or
Sure,
your
but then
Revit? Yeah, there
oh,
you go.
okay, all right.
That's gonna be a lot better for you.
Yeah,
Second,
absolutely.
let's go. I wanna repeat this step that we did earlier, and just so you have an idea of how to do it. So go in the view. Okay, I want you to
Yeah.
go over to where it says plan views right underneath that. Yep. Click floor plan. And now click do not duplicate existing. Click that checkbox and turn that off.
Copy.
Now I want you to go create a level 1 view and click OK. And so now that's going to create a brand new one called level 1, right? But this one doesn't have any of that other stuff on it. So you had duplicated a view before. So go ahead and just right click that construction 246 view.
Oh,
Right
copy.
click and delete that one. And then just rename that one now L1 240 construction 246. Okay, and then now let's go ahead and go to your VG because we built a new sheet. So go ahead and hit enter and I'll set the name. No, you don't want to rename the level. All right, now I want you to go back to VG. I know you probably already did this on your other one, but since we created a brand new view, it's coming in as the default, okay? So let's go ahead and hit VG. VG on your keyboard or visibility graphics.
Which
You're
is
there. Go over to where it says view templates on the left-hand side. Keep going right there. Just to the right of that at the top, there's visibility graphics. There you go. All right, so now I want to go to the annotation categories tab. Type in S. Sorry, you got to, yeah, there you go. And then now I want you to uncheck the scope boxes and section boxes and click OK. All right, perfect.
awesome. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, and I'll take your screen back. Let's see what I can do. Where's Todd? Right there. Stop participant sharing. All right. Is there anyone else that doesn't have exactly what we're seeing on my screen and or Todd's screen? Right, where it looks like this, where we've got just this level 1 construction 246 and everything's out of the legend schedule sheets, and then we've got our normal families and whatnot. We all good? Looking like that? All right. So now that this is cleared out, and if you haven't saved it, it's probably going to prompt you because it's been a half hour since I saved it. I'm going to go ahead and click save the project. Okay. What I want to do now is create our own working sections. Okay. So again, it had a bunch of stuff that was pre-created for us, but in order for us to use it and utilize it, we probably would have gone into each one of them, each section type, change all the filtering on it, change the line type stuff, right? It's way easier for us just to start over and you guys can learn how to create these instead of just utilizing what was there, right? So what I want to do is I want to come up to this section at the very top. Okay, this is going to be in your view tab in your ribbon. So I think what's that, the 10th tab over, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11th tab over. Same area that we went to create the plan view, except this time we're going to go ahead and create a section. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click that section. And you'll notice that in the properties, it's automatically wanting us to start with a building section. And I say, no, I want to go down here and we're going to create what's called a working section. Okay, when I click that working section, I now should be able to go ahead and drag. So I'm going to go ahead and click in this, let's call this bottom left quadrant. So I'm going to click in the bottom left and drag straight to the right and click again to set my section. Okay, so again, I'm going to do that one more time. If you click this section head button up here, right, we're going to automatically go into the creating section mode. If we click the drop down here on the properties, you should have a building, wall, and working section. Do you guys all have those? 25 might be a little different. Okay, cool. Again, they used to have a building section, and then all the rest of them you had to create as your own types and build them yourself, which is fine. Now they kind of gave you a little shortcut to use a working section. So I'm going to go ahead and click the working section, and then again, I'm going to drag from this quadrant 1 to the bottom right quadrant. And that's going to build a working section for me. All right. So now that I got one working section, it's called section 1. Is that useful for us? Does that mean anything to anybody? No, right? So what we want to do is we want to actually take this section and title it something that we know. Okay. And what I want to do, and this is how I use my working sections, is typically you will have 2 working sections. And a working section is a section that you utilize while you're working. So as you're modeling, you can take that section and drag it around, look at elevations. Okay. But one thing I don't like doing all the time is, let's say I'm facing north-south. Well, if I wanted to face east-west, I could come here and I could rotate this section. And I could rotate that section every time I wanted to do that. But it's kind of cumbersome to do that. So what I like to do is I like to have 2 sections. So this one here that we drew from the quadrant 1 to quadrant 2 that's facing north right now. I want you to go ahead and click on this section. And I want you to come over here to this view name in your properties. Okay. And instead of it being called section 1, I want you to call it north dash, not underscore, dash south section. Or actually even better, north/south working section. And just because I always put my initials in things. It's something that you will get used to doing if you're ever working on a project team in Revit, because we all have our own sections. We all have our own views. We all have our own stuff, and we need to have our name on it. So then that way, you know what is yours, right? All these I can apply different templates. I can apply different filters to that ultimately will help it to just isolate my stuff. Okay, so this is called north-south GMT working section. And right now there is no view template put on it. Where it says what? And that north/south. Are you able to do that? And then you got the sections, and the section and that one is like here. And right here. Well, now the section is selected, so you scroll down here. All right, so we want to name this north/south GMT working section, or whatever your initials are, right? Okay, so how might I go about creating another section? There's 2 ways right now, right off the bat. If anyone's talking, you're muted.
Can you duplicate view?
you could duplicate view. So you could right click, and you don't necessarily duplicate the view, you would create similar. But that's the same type of thing, right? So we could do that,
Okay.
create similar, and that's going to ultimately, all that's doing is it's just starting this command, the section command again. So now I can draw a new section. How might I do this a little bit more efficiently? Because I already named this section. I like to type as little as possible. I could take this and we're going to copy this section. So we're going to take this and use our copy up here in your ribbon. Okay, so when you click on anything, a lot of times you're in the tab, whatever tab you were last in. Once you select an item, it's going to take that tab and say, you don't need that anymore. You've got an item selected. I'm going to bring you to the modify tab. Okay, and it's saying, hey, now that you've got this section selected, what would you like to do with it? And we can go ahead and copy it. So I'm going to use this nice little copy. And this is going to be like, for those of you that took AutoCAD, this is like the actual copy command, COPY command, not Control C, Control V. Okay. What that means is when I type in CO, or hit the copy, it means I'm going to create a copy, but I'm going to tell you where I want the base point. So I can click anywhere I want. And I say, that's my base point. And now I'm telling you how far away I want to move that copy. Right? So maybe I want to have a copy 48 feet away. If you just use, I'm going to go ahead and delete that, but if you just use Control C, Control V, you can do that. No big deal. It's just hard to understand exactly, like if you're trying to move this exactly 15 feet up, right? It's hard to do that without setting a base point. All right, so now that I've got two sections here, and again, it's going to go ahead, when I copy it, it's going to inherit that name and then just going to go ahead and call it, it's going to add a number at the end, or it's going to call it copy or something. So I'm just going to rename this one. Instead of north, south, I'm going to call this east, west. And then I'm going to use my rotate command to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. So I can do that by clicking the rotate command, clicking anywhere on the screen, and then dragging a direction I want to go. Now you could drag all the way to 90 degrees and let it do its thing, or you could drag a direction and then type in 90 on your keyboard, which is a lot easier than trying to get it to snap straight. And now I've got two sections. One of them that's facing east, west. And I call it east-west because this section's facing east right now. But if I hit this toggle, it's now facing west. Okay, so this section can look either east or west. And this section here can look north or south. All right. Does everyone have two sections on their screen? An east-west and north-south? Yeah? No? When you click on the section, this ribbon will change. Now that you click on that section, copy button. Use that copy button. So you click one spot, click there, do the one shot, click again. Okay, now you have a second. So that's in there. And so now this one here, we can now rotate that. So when you click that one, click the outside line. And then it's a local one. We've got one. What's this one called? From north south. This one. Okay, then go ahead and delete this stuff. You don't need it. Literally hit escape. And now you've got that one selected. So you're then you have to do it for you. That's All right, does anyone want to share their screen and look at anything that may not look exactly like this?
Mine's not like at a right angle like yours. I just have mine looks like an upside down cross, to be honest. But is that
You
the
mean like, but there you've got one that's left and to right
Yeah,
and one that's
yeah.
up to down, right?
yeah,
These
yeah.
these are gonna move all over. Okay, you're gonna move these around as you start working. Okay, so
Okay.
as long as they're drawn up and down and left to right, we should be fine. Okay. So we're gonna do a couple more housekeeping things on this template, make it a little bit more user friendly. We're gonna save it, take our break, and then we're gonna get back into the second part of the class, which is actually gonna be drawing with the new template. Okay. So one thing that I like, again, my favorite color in Revit is pink or this magenta color, just because it's easy to see. Black lines are hard to see, especially once you start getting files with backgrounds in them, right? That have all these other lines in there. It's hard to see this. So what I want to do is I want to come here and I want to click VG on my keyboard, okay? Or we're going to come up here to view and you can click this visibility graphics. And I want to come over here to this filters button. Okay, and right now we have no filters applied. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build a filter that says if we have sections that contain, whatever our section name is, we want to turn them pink. Okay, so I'm not going to override them pink by like clicking on them and telling them and right clicking and telling, like I could right click on this and override graphics and view. And I could make this whatever color I wanted. The problem is that's static at that point, right? That's just saying, hey, I want you to do this to this one section. I want to do it to any section. So we're going to use a view template ultimately, but we want to go into our VG and go to our filters, and we're going to add a new filter. And it's got a bunch of filters that are already here. We don't want any of these. We're going to click this edit new button. Okay. So when you click that edit new button, we get another menu that comes up that says filters. And we're going to go all the way to this left-hand side to this what's called a Kaizen burst. It's this new. And when I click this new parameter button or new filter button, it's going to come up here and it's a filter 1. And I'm going to call this section color. Okay. So now if I scroll up or down, wherever, it's going to have this new filter here called section color. And I want to select it. Okay. And I need to tell it what to do. So first things first, we need to take a look at what categories. So we've got all these different categories. We've got callouts, we've got cable tray, conduits, data. Any idea what type of a category we might be looking for? What are we trying to filter?
Probably sections.
Our section. So we want to include the section category. Okay, simple enough. We now have a category selected, and we now can assign a set of rules to it. So we want to say sections, and I'm just going to go family and type equals, and I'll click this drop down. And let's see, do we have one in here? Let's go to sections working. Okay. So we want to go here, sections, family and type equals, and we're going to choose down here the second one to the bottom that says sections working. Sections, family and type equals sections working section. Okay. And when I click OK, it's not going to automatically assign that filter. Okay. We're just building the filter right now. So when I click OK on this, it now brings me back to this add filters screen, and I can now go select this new filter that we assigned called section, except I want to rename that because I can't spell. Section color. Okay. So we're going to go down here, click this section color filter and click OK. So now it's saying, hey, I've got this filter. I want to enable it and turn it on. And here is where we can go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and if we've got working sections, let's go ahead and override them with this magenta. And if I click OK, or better yet, I'm going to move this, right? And click apply so you can see it happen. But now those sections turn magenta. Okay, so if you like magenta, great. If you want to do it green, red, I don't care what your color is as long as it's not yellow. Okay, yellow on a white background is super hard to see. Okay, so but if you don't like my pink, by all means, you can go ahead and choose this and turn it to, I would do something that's light. Okay, so a light green, this light blue, this dark blue, anything this color or darker just starts to blend into your background once you start getting stuff in there. Okay, so we want to make it stand out. So this red, cyan, this lime green, one of these oranges, okay, any of those will work.
Can you do that last part a little bit slower? Sorry.
Where we assign the section color?
Yeah, or just like so I got like section working sections equals section working sections, and then there was
Okay.
like
Perfect. Okay, so
Good
let's do
stuff.
this. Okay, so I'm going to remove this filter now. Okay, and I think this is where you're at. Okay, so but if you go to VG, so click VG on your keyboards or this visibility graphics up here, and you go to filters, once you've created that one, so did you created that whole filter, right? Daniel? You're muted.
I would have to show you.
Okay,
Right.
then show me. Show me.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and click add. Once you've created it once, it's always going to be there and you can just reassign it. So section color, and I want those section colors to be magenta. And I'll click OK and OK. And let's see, what is Daniel? Let's see. Are you sharing?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Let me pause, stop my share so I can see you. Okay, there we go. All right, so perfect. So that's just called section color. Go ahead and click OK. Now we need to go down here. Nope, don't hit OK yet. You need to go select that. So go scroll down and go find the one that says sections dash color or section color.
Oh, right there.
There you go. Now click OK. Select that, click OK. So that nope, don't keep going. Okay. We gotta
Okay.
hold up. Okay.
Okay.
So now that we've got the section color filter assigned, we need to now tell it what color you want to turn it. So go ahead
Okay.
and click that lines override. So right under lines, you've got 3 override buttons.
Right there.
Yep. Now go choose your color. So click that, click the color,
There it is. Okay.
and click that, choose whatever
Magenta.
color you want. Yep. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I missed the process of selecting. Could we start there again, please? You don't mind?
Selecting what?
To get to the colors.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and have you share your screen. And we'll walk through it on your screen. Are you able to share that, Greg?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not yet. Oh, here it comes. And all right, perfect. Okay, awesome. So what we want to do now is go ahead and click. Let's just make sure you built the filter. So go ahead and click that edit new button.
I haven't built the filter.
You haven't built the filter. Perfect. So
No.
let's go all the way down to the bottom. And we don't have anything there. I don't see any other ones. Perfect. So let's click that new button on the very left-hand side with that little sun or the Kaizen burst. Yep. Perfect. So we want to call this section color. Okay.
Click OK.
Yep. Now we want to scroll down in the categories. So that's the names. Yep. Categories are right there. So let's scroll down all the way to the bottom until you find S for sections. Up, up. There you go, right there. So now we need to set the filter. Oh, don't be checking all of them. Now set the filter so it says sections and it says none. So we want to change that none to family and type. Go to that, go right. Yep, there you go. So family and type. Change the next drop down to equals. So click there and click equals, and then now click the next one, and we want to click that drop down and go all the way to the bottom. Second one from the bottom, and it should be working sections, working section. Okay. All right, now click the add button. And if you scroll down, you should find one that says section color. There you go. Click OK. And now we're going to, underneath lines, yep, click that override. Yep, right there. Click the color. Choose a color. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. All right. So what we just did is we took our colors and or our sections and we went and said, hey, we want to make these show up a lot better, right? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Let's get to here. Share screen 2. All right. Okay. So we went to the visibility graphics, right? And we created a filter and made these turn pink. So what I want to do now is we're going to do two things. One, we're going to take a look at our sections. So if you click on a section, okay, first off, if you use these drag bars, you can drag it left and right, and that extends the width of your section. If you take this drag, which is what's called the far clipping offset, this is how deep you're looking, right? So if I'm only looking, right there, and I have a wall that's, and I've got a wall that's right here. I'm not going to see that wall in my section view until that section view has a view clipping that encompasses that wall. Now that that section view is there, I can go to this view and now I see that wall there, right? Okay, so what we're going to do in this view, again, I'm going to delete the wall. We're not going to have any walls. We're not going to have any content in the template because we want to start with modeling from the beginning. We don't want walls that are already in there that we got to go in and delete and start over from. So one thing we did is we used our visibility graphics and our filters to create this lovely pink filter. Now I want to show you what a view template is. Okay, so there's Revit uses templates a lot. Okay, I'm gonna straighten this out real quick by saying there's two types of templates. We've got a project template, okay, which is what we are building right now. It's going to include the few section views that we have, the filters we want to have on there, but no actual content, right? We're not going to draw walls on here because we want to create a new project from the template, but we don't want those walls to be drawn every time, okay? So the other thing that we're going to do with this template is other thing we've got called template, sorry, is what's called view templates. Okay, so you've got a project template, which that's how we're starting our project. We'll start every project with the template once we finish it. Okay, and we'll probably get into this template and add more to it in the upcoming weeks. But then we've got something called view templates. And a view template is a template that is applied to a specific view or multiple views within the project. So what I want to do now, everyone has something here that shows, you know, pink sections or green or blue, whatever. I want to now come to view, and I want to go to this very left-hand view templates and click this drop down. And what this drop down is going to do is it's going to give you a few options. Do we want to create a template, apply template properties, create template properties, or manage the view templates? And what we're going to do is we're going to create template from the current view. So it's saying, hey, everything that we've set up here, we're going to save, and we can pull that back up later with a different view. Okay. So I'm going to create template from current view. I'm going to name it GMT working plan. Okay. So this is one thing we want to differentiate is when we create templates, you want to differentiate whether it's a template for a section view, a 3D view, a plan view. Okay. So then that way they sort themselves out and you choose the right template when you're assigning them. So I'm going to choose this new view template, name it GMT working plan. And when I click OK, one thing that you would think would happen was it would automatically apply this template. Well, for some reason, even when I click OK, it doesn't. Okay. But the template has been built for us. So now when I come over here to this view template where it says none, if I click that none, I now have a template right here called GMT working plan. And you can see if you click into that and you click this edit filters button, that filter that we created has already been inherited by that view template. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So now I've built it, I'm going to go back into it, click GMT working plan, click OK. And now you can see that on the left-hand side, we've got a GMT working plan template. Okay. So
Sure. There's an easier way to do with form.
okay,
So.
Right.
Is that.
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. All right. So real quick, we can take that template, and if I went and if I click this drop down, you can see these are my other working sections. So there's a couple different ways to get to them. You can click on the section, right click and go to view, and that will bring you to this working section. You can also just double click on whatever working section you want to view in your project browser, and it will open that up. Okay. So you'll notice that these two haven't had templates assigned to them. Okay. However, if we go back to this lovely plan view and we select both of these, so if we select this one and then hold control, we can click the second section and we could go ahead right now from this view and apply this view template. Now, earlier I called it plan. okay? And you'll see that it doesn't exist right here, okay? The reason it doesn't exist right here is because right now it's looking at only elevation, section, and detail view style templates. Now that doesn't mean you can't use that floor plan template. You just need to go to the all template filter. And now if I scroll down, I could apply this GMP working plan template to both of those sections. And now when I go view that section, you'll now see that my other section in that view is pink because it inherited that property, right? Okay, so we're gonna do a lot more with templates. We're gonna stop there for tonight. Okay, if you don't have all your colors, not a big deal. We can go back over this next, not next week, but the following, right? We'll open up the template and make sure everyone's on the same page. Okay, but I want to go ahead now and file, save. Okay, and then let's take our, let's go ahead and meet back at 7:30. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and save that and close Revit altogether. Okay, save it and close it, and yeah, just hit that save button because we already did a save as for the template, right? Okay, so just hit that save button. We're gonna take our little break and we'll be back at 8 or at 7:30. And we'll start getting into tonight's drawing. So I'm gonna pause the recording. So do what? Yeah, but see, you're still you're trying to save it as a template. Okay. Did you click here and then resave it? Hit it. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this one more time. I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna back up and do this again, everybody. Okay. Please, please, please follow along. Okay, and you can see right here that I made a capitalization error with construction. So the file I'm gonna be saving now will be correct, right? So I'm gonna click file. I'm gonna click save as, and I'm gonna click project. We're not saving it as a template. Okay, we're gonna save it as a project. When I do that, now I can fix my O here. Right? Construction 246, week 2. Okay. And now I'm going to click save. Now you'll notice if you're saving this right, it should be saving as a RVT, which is a Revit file, not a RTE, which is a Revit template. Okay. So you should save it there, and it should now say construction 246, week 2. And if you did a file save as real quick, or if you do a file save, sorry, if you do save as project, it should automatically show you right there that it's a Revit project, right? Not a template. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into some meat and potatoes. I don't know why that floor plan, there we go. Yeah, it just was sticky. So let's go ahead and start working with some of our tools and draw something fun. So today we're going to do some similar stuff we did last week. I want to come up here to wall. I want to go wall architectural. And then I want to choose an exterior brick. Let's do an exterior brick and CMU on metal stud. Basic wall, again, brick and CMU on metal stud. And then this top constraint, I'm going to go ahead and constrain this up to level 2, right? So that should make it a height of 12 feet. You can see that there, but we're constraining it to level 2. So we're going to go from 0 up to 12 feet. And I'm going to go ahead and draw some type of shape. Now, I don't care what you draw today. today is another day that what we put on here, we'll submit in a screenshot or something, but it doesn't like, we don't need to match anything as we progress. Next on the 27th, when you guys come in, I'll have a very small assignment up there with some dimensions and some wall types and whatnot, and we'll just go ahead and just start getting going with it. Okay, but for now, I'll walk you through. It doesn't matter what size this is. Yeah, so let's go ahead and draw the wall. I'm gonna again try to keep your walls like under 40 feet. Is probably preferred, just so you don't get so massive. This one I'm going to draw out at a 45. And again, I'm just drawing. I don't really care where it's going to be. Maybe put a little dormer there. Something like that. We'll step in, come out this way. Again, I don't care what you guys have, right? It doesn't matter. The concepts are going to be met either way, no matter what your shape is. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just stop it right there. And then I can use my trim tool, TR, on my keyboard shortcut, or modify, trim, extend to corners. And I'm just going to use that tool to put those together and complete the exterior. Again, if you don't like something, you can always take something here and drag it. Maybe I want to move that in. Maybe I want to move this in. Maybe I want to move that out. Once it gets to a point that it's saying, hey, I can't do this, it's going to give you an error and saying, hey, you can't move that wall that direction, right? It's crossing on the outside. Okay, but it will do pretty much whatever you want it to do within reason.
I have a question, Graham. On mine, when I'm drawing the wall, it's kind of like a like a
You
2.5.
wanna share?
It's like a 2.5D view.
It's a what?
It's like you can like see the shading of the walls.
So
And-
then you probably have. Why don't you go ahead and share?
okay, hold on.
There, you can share yours. And let's see what you're talking about.
I apologize. Where's the share button?
I don't know.
Oh, I see it. There we go. Okay. I've never shared my screen. Okay. So do you see how it's kind of crazy?
So
looking?
yeah, interesting. Peculiar. What did you do? Hit escape. If you try to just draw straight to your right, what? It's like,
Let's-
so just try to draw. Yeah, there you go. Why is it? What the? Oh. Okay, you're in your floor plan. We created a floor plan. How is this? That's so awkward. Click that 2D on the right hand side. There's a little 2D wheel. There, go to your right hand side. That's left.
Apologies. I think I
Down.
okay.
It's in the actual like white space. So on the right hand side at the top of the white space, you'll see something. Yeah, right there. Grab that.
Okay.
Click that.
Okay.
Okay. I was just trying to see if that would reset you to. It's so weird. I don't, because everything looks like you should be looking straight down in plan view.
Yeah,
But-
it's
Um,
peculiar.
I'm not seeing why it would do this, but does anyone else's screen look like this? Because that visual style shouldn't, it'll change it, but no matter what, you should just be looking straight down. I don't understand why you've got a bit of a skew to it. Huh. if you, that's your work chain, you don't need to click through there. Very bizarre. It's like it's not behaving the way that it should at all, because why you're seeing shaded there? Oh, man. All right, can we just try something real quick?
Yeah,
Go to the view tab and go to the plan view. So it's to the right of the call out, just above the house, just up. Yeah, right there. Click floor plan. We'll just create a new floor plan. Click do not duplicate and then create a new level 1. Click L1. Oh,
okay.
now click OK. Okay, see, that's right. Zoom in. So go ahead and click and drag to your right. Like, that's what you should be seeing. I don't know why your other one is skewed. But just work on this view for now.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, you are something else, so I might just do that. Yeah, then start. So I go ahead and click here and Yeah, no problem. All right. So now we've got something that looks like somewhat of a building. I don't know what yours looks like, but let me share this again. All right. So what I want to do is I want to start utilizing our section views and working with them. So let's go ahead and let's go up to our architectural tab. Now I want to put a door in. Now, right now it's going to be right at the bottom, which is kind of what I want for a door, right? You pretty much want that entering flush, unless we're building some type of a deck or offset of stairs or whatnot. But we're just going to put this on the bottom. Okay, it is a 36 by 84 door. Maybe I want to change this to like a French door. All right, so I'll do like a 72 wide by 84 tall. So I'll have these nice set of French doors as my opening. And which way does the door typically open into a house?
Inward.
Inward, exactly, right? Okay, so there's that door. Okay, now I'm going to put a couple windows in. And when I go to my windows, we are going to throw in, let's do some double hung 30 by 46. We'll put a couple of these on each side. And are they exactly where I want them? No. Revit is a program that you drag things in, you get it close, and then we figure out exactly where it needs to go. Because if you spend all the time trying to get it in the right spot right away, it's going to take you a lot longer. Okay. So what we're going to do once we get that drawn is I want to take this section view and bring this section view up. And I want to take a look at this south wall. So I can, this far clipping offset here, right? So if I only include this or extend this to just catch this front wall, will I see this window? Again, so if I'm viewing this right here and this blue line is stopping before this wall, will I see that window? No, I will not, right? So when I go to this view, the 3 windows I am seeing are the 3 windows on that front wall, right? Or on that farthest south wall. For what? So we want to go to, yeah, so just right click on this view and you can click go to view on that section view. Okay, so but if we extend this now to catch that window and I go to view, you can now see that you see the window, but not only do you see the window, you see this kind of line here that shows that there's some type of a step back, right? There's the elevation or these walls aren't continuous, right? Okay, so I don't know what exactly that setback is, right? But it doesn't matter. So what does matter though is the height of these windows, and I really don't like them this low. Let's say I want these up high. What would I do? How might I go about changing the height of this window? I want to go through like 3 different options how to do this. So how might we change the elevation of that window?
You could click and drag.
You can click it and drag it. Okay. That's simple. There's one. Is that a great method?
No,
Not really, because you know
not if you want
why?
to move the wall.
Well, it's hard for me clicking and dragging. It's hard for me to tell what my elevation is going to be, right? I can fudge it around. Okay. And this is trying to snap me to like whole, or it looks like pretty much 2-inch increments is what it's trying to snap me as, because I'm seeing these bricks in there. So I think that's kind of playing a factor there to help snap me there. But if I'm out here, or if I'm like down here, it's really hard to know what my sill height is right there. However, I've got this super, super handy parameter that allows me to know the sill height. So originally it was at 3 feet right here. So there's 2 methods. How might we make this 5 feet?
How did you get to elevation view in the first place?
Okay, great question. So I took this elevation, I moved it, or it's technically a section view, but I took this section view and drug it up to the wall and made sure that my far clipping offset was capturing the walls that I wanted to look at, right? So that's step 1, is setting up, putting your section view in the right spot, and then adjusting your far clip to make sure you see what you want to. Now you can get here by 2 ways, and this is by far my favorite way, is right click on it and then just click this lovely go to view button. Okay. You can double click in the project browser, right? And we could open those all up from the project browser. But when you're actively moving a section around and you're working on it and touching it, it's really quick just to right click and go to view. Okay. Rather than coming back to here, and depends on how many things. We've got a very, very, very tiny project browser right now. I have upwards of 10,000 sheets and views sometimes in my project browser. So browsing through that to try to just go to the section view when I can right click on it and go to view that's a lot easier, right? Did that get you where you needed to go, Kat?
Yeah, it did. Thank
Right on. Okay. So let's make this 5 feet. How might I do this? I want 5 foot sill height. I've got 3 ways that I can do this. Way number 1, literally type in the sill height that I want. And that's going to elevate it to where it needs to be, right? I typed in 5 foot, it moved to 5 foot. Okay. Option 2. Let's say I don't know what this hill height is, but I know I want it 2 feet higher. I can take my move command and literally move this window with a base point and tell it I want it to move it 2 feet up. Right? Third way is there's what's called these reference or quick dimensions that right here, it's giving me a 3 foot to the bottom of the sill. I could click in there and type in 5 and it would bump. So there's lots of different ways to move things in this project. And again, you could also do like Adam said, just drag it up. The problem with that is it's hard to, without really getting like into looking at the details and trying to really get it to set, it's hard to get it to set right at 5 feet. Okay. So utilizing a sill height or a known location and moving it, right? Whereas when I went from 3 feet and then I moved it 2 feet up, right? I know that 3 plus 2 is going to be 5, right? So I could do that. That would be my preferred method if I didn't know what the elevation I needed to be. If I know the elevation, I'm just going to go over here and type it in. Plain and simple. Easiest way to do it, right? But if I know that, let's say this was at 2'7" and 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And I know that I wanted it exactly 2 feet higher, right? I could come in here and let's do this. Let's make it a little trickier. Let's say I want to move this. It's at 2'7" and 3/8. Let's say I want to move this 1 foot 2 and an 1/8. Okay. So I could do that by typing in move 1 foot 2 and an 1/8 inch. And it would move that up. Okay. But here's the really cool part. Okay. So I don't like doing math. Like, I'm good at math. That's what I went to school for originally, to be an engineer. But yeah, I don't want to do math that I don't need to do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is make Revit do it for me. So the last but not least, the really cool way, if you have things that need to be moved at specific distances and you have maybe not even height numbers, right? We can come in here and I can say, hey, this is 2'7" and 3/8. I wanted to make that 1 foot 2 and an 1/8 higher, right? I can add plus 1 foot 2 and an 1/8 inch. And as long as I have an equal sign at the front of that, it turns it into a formula that I can now move that window. So let Revit do the math for you, right? If I wanted to move that up 7/8 of an inch plus 7/8 of an inch, and then tell it it's a formula, give it an equal sign at the front, and there you go. Pretty slick. Okay. So Revit's got all types of ways to do all types of things, right? So there's not one way to do anything in Revit. Okay. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. How might I elevate all of these windows? And I'm talking all of the 30 by 46, not necessarily this window. And right now, I'm just going to go ahead and drop that far clipping offset back. Right here, you can see that far clip offset. I can change it in my section view if I want to. Okay, so you can edit that view depth in the view that you're in. So how might I make all of these 6'7" for the sill height? And again, let's do this. How might I make all these 6'7" and they're all at different elevations to begin with?
You just grab them all, right? Like shift, is that what you say? Shift and click and click and click, or?
It's control, but yes. So you can do that. So I could grab one and hold control and grab the next one and hold control and grab the next one. Okay, so that's one option to grab all three of them. The other way to grab all three of them is to right click and use this select all instances visible in view, and that will grab those three windows as well. Okay. Now, one thing that you'll notice, what's going on in my properties over here? What does that sill height say it is?
Varies.
It says it varies, right? So anytime you have more than one element that has two different elevations, it's not gonna give you an elevation there. It's not gonna tell you that this window is at 3 foot, this one's at 6 foot, and this one's at 310 and an eighth. It's just gonna say, hey, I've got multiple objects, and that sill height varies, right? It's not, but it's something that now, even though it says it varies, that doesn't mean I can't click into it and use the field. So I can click into this, put them at 7'2", hit enter, and all of them will snap to that. Okay. So you can utilize your properties to move multiple objects at once. Say you wanted this one down 1'2.5". Again, you could do the math, or you could go -1 space 2.5. And then I always start with this minus 2.5 inches or whatever, and then I'll come back at the front and then just put the equal sign in there. Okay, and then you could do that and it'll bump it down. Any questions on moving windows around? Pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Let's go ahead and go back to a plan view. And let's go and let's build out an area of this. So I want to take, I'm just going to take this area of my house. I don't care what your area is. I'm going to draw a wall architecture, and I'm going to change this type to an interior. I'll just do an interior 4.5 partition. And I'm just going to come off the corner of this wall. Now, you'll notice when I come off the corner of this, since the wall is a different thickness, it's going to draw center to center. How might we move that wall so it aligns with the other wall? I could just try and drag it, right? But that's kind of tricky. It doesn't seem like it always wants to work the way I would need it to. How might I align that to the other side of the wall?
Spacebar.
Space bar. I don't think that's going to do much.
And the
Spacebar is good for an object that can rotate freely.
Okay.
Like if I drew in a wall and now I selected this, since you can't do anything with that wall, right? But if you drew in if I brought in a piece of if I brought in a chair, I guess we already have a chair over here. So if you bring in a chair, if you bring in something that's unconnected, yes, you could hit that space bar and it could rotate, right? But this wall is connected, and walls are not necessarily objects that just rotate freely. Okay, but I like the thought. All right, how might we get this to move over here? We got two ways, or two really easy ways. I'm sure there's a lot more. So we're going to use our align tool. That's my favorite way. So if I use my align tool and go to my modify tab and use this tool right here that's called align, that shows a small blue kind of rectangle and then a larger rectangle. If I use align and I select this edge, again, it's where I want to go, then what I want to move. Right? And now I can align that wall so that seam is seamless, right? So you don't have any type of, bump out or something because of the wall thicknesses. Okay, so that's one method. What else might we be able to do? We can just use our straight up move tool. Okay. As long as you grab a snapping displacement point. So if I use this move tool and I come down here and I say, hey, I want to grab from this corner and I want to move to this corner, it'll move it just fine for me. Okay, so the last but not least, you can drag it, but again, you don't really have any control of where that ends up. Maybe you're lucky and you get it to snap, but look at that. I tried to get really close, but it's off, right? And it's off by, you know, 1/8 of an inch, right? Which is pretty significant in the world of BIM. Okay, considering that we do everything at a 16th. Okay, so that's another way to move that. So now that I've drawn something here, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just work on building this. Okay, so let's go ahead and build it out with something simple. Let's make this like a bedroom office kind of area. I don't want to get really crazy with countertops yet and base cabinetry. Let's get you drawn some more simpler items before we start combining that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's go to the insert tab and let's go to load Autodesk family. And let's say I want a bed. Well, I'm not a huge fan of any of these beds. So what could I do if I wanted to? We touched base on a little website the other day,
Oh,
and that website is called BIM Object. Okay, and you guys are more than welcome to use BIM Object for your in-class projects, for your final project, right? Whatever. I don't care. BIM Object is a great resource. You can just log in with a Google account. Okay, and now I could go here and type in bed. And I can get a lot cooler bed. So let's do this guy. Whoa, look at that. I could go make a full hospital. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. I like that bed. I'm gonna go and click on it. Now, once you click on these, okay, you can get, if you click this download button, you don't want to download all of the files. You just want to click download, and then we want to just, what? Why does it have no, what? They don't even have a Revit file, okay? So sometimes you might end up with something like that, where it's just a PDF of this thing, okay? They actually don't have any 3D files here for some reason. I don't know if that's something that they used to have 3D file of this and it's been removed, okay? But sometimes you may run into that, where you'd want something, but it doesn't actually have the Revit file, okay? So in that case, let's just step back, click on this one, click download. And again, so it looks like this is an ArchiCAD file. Okay, I don't really want that. Okay, so we can do some filtering when we search. And if you, let's see, let's see here. You should be able to search for only with file type right here. We click this file type and then click Revit. Okay, it's only going to bring up beds that have a Revit file associated with them. So both those beds that we just looked at are not on this list, right? So this is a good thing to sort by your file type before you really start getting into it and then find out that, oh, all these other things are just PDFs. So they're a file format that we're not going to use. So I'll go ahead and use this. I like that bed. That looks nice. Download. And again, you should see something here that says, okay, Revit files. Perfect. It's got 6. Do I want all 6 of them? No. So I typically will click this deselect all and then come and just click this one file that I need, which is this Revit RFA. If you see a Revit family type catalog, this is just a text file. This is the actual model file. Okay, is that RFA file. So I'm going to download selection. It'll download there. I can then, the way that I like to do it is I like to go through Revit. And so I'll actually go here and I'll say load family. So instead of loading Autodesk family, which is bringing you to their cloud their cloud web browser, you can click this load family, and then I'm just gonna go to my downloads and I'm gonna load that plaza. And I click open, it's gonna up convert. Yeah. And now when I go back to my project browser and search bed, it might be called Plaza, right? Plaza, there you go. And I can drag this out. And why is this not wanting to drop? So, okay, well, that's fun. Let's go to 3D view and see if it wants to drop in a 3D view. It doesn't look like that file worked at all. Wonderful. Ah, there it is. So that's what happened. Sorry, guys. So I was looking for this plaza. I didn't click this drop down. So if there's ever a drop down underneath what you're trying to insert, like it won't load. Okay. It's saying, hey, you need to tell me what type. Like this, we've got, I don't know, what is it? 7 different types of windows right there. Okay, when we open this up, we still only have one, but this is the actual bed right here. This is the family. This is the type. Okay, so we're dropping the type in, and then maybe we'll put the bed like that. And I can go back to my working plan view and see, okay, I've got a bed like that. Cool. But does that really look like a bed to me? Looks like a kind of a rectangle, right? So one thing that you'll notice is when we applied that template, okay, and we're not talking the template as far as the whole project template. I'm talking about the template that we applied to the floor plan, right here, this GMT working plan. Okay, when we applied this, and we didn't do it intentionally, but what it does is it locks up everything else in your VG. So if I click VG now that I have a template applied, you'll see that everything is grayed out, right? And that's just to let you know really quickly, hey, you've got a template applied. If you want to edit this, we can click here, and then you can go in and edit all of that stuff, right? But you got to click into your template if the template's been applied. So one thing that I'm noticing though, right off the bat, that is if I try to click down here and change my detail level or change my model display, all of this is grayed out, right? So anytime something's grayed out, that should be an indicator that this view is being controlled by a template, and that template is locking that. Okay, so if I go to my view template, there's 2 ways that I can take a look and change that. One, I could change from coarse to medium. I could click that. And then now you see a little bit different bed there, right? I could also change that from medium to fine, apply that, and I don't know, it looked a little bit better at medium, but you can see what's going on, right? You're changing this detail level for the template. However, you can also take it out of a template. And this is where things get kind of nice. So templates lock things down. However, this checkbox on the right-hand side determines if that template is going to control it or not. So if I uncheck this detail level and I uncheck this model display and click OK, now when I want to change from fine to medium to coarse, I can do so at my leisure, because these 2 elements, the detail level and the model display, are no longer included in the template. Okay, so they're on the outside of the template. So you can alter them any way you want.
Oh, could you show me how to drag over the bed into the picture again or into the screen?
Sure.
Like, yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So remember earlier I was having an issue dragging it in. I didn't expand it, right? Did you get the
Yes.
same bed that I have?
I I got a bed. I think
Okay.
I think I got one from the family. I did download one. I don't know what I downloaded, but
So either way, if you're getting one from the, the actual Autodesk families, or if you're getting one from another source, right? BIM Object or Revit City. Revit City is another third party modeling website that you can see all the manufacturers' models and stuff.
got it.
Anyhow, if you click this plus button,
Yep.
you need to drag and drop the type. So this is the family. The family is Plaza. The type right now is called default, but I'm going to rename this and I'm going to call this bed. Right. So this is the type. The type was a Plaza and this is my bed. So now when I grab bed and drag it, then I can drag and drop it. And then once I have an area that I want it, I can go ahead and just click again and it will set it down.
Okay.
Did that work?
Yep.
Right
Got
on.
it.
Okay, so but what we did though, by altering that view template and pulling these two checkboxes out of it, allows us to control the model display and the detail level on the outside of the template. So it's no longer being controlled inside the template. You have flexibility to change those on, and it doesn't matter. We could apply this template to 15 views. All 15 of them could be could have a different combination of detail level and graphic display, if that's unchecked, right? If it's checked, it locks it in. Everything's the same always, right? But if you uncheck it, you have the ability to change that around a little. So we drug a bed in. What else do we need in this? Let's go load a new family. Let's look for a desk, because I wanted this to be like a bed office. Ooh, I'll do this this guy here. And you know what? I'm actually going to grab both of these and download them because it looks like those kind of work together, right? So I can use both of those. There's all the types that it's going to come out with by default. So, okay. Okay. And now, if I search for desk, here is my L piece. Right. Lovely. And it doesn't want to drop that. It'll drop these ones just fine, but it doesn't want to drop that other one. So that even with Revit's own families, it still has issues. So just goes to show that there's not a perfect family out there, right? It just even when Revit and Autodesk builds them, sometimes they don't come in right. So I'll just go ahead and drop a desk that does work, because I don't really care about trying to. Okay. Why is none of this dropping in? Would drop in 3D? That will drop in. I don't understand why this desk isn't wanting to drop. New type. Oh, that's why. There we go. So when that came in, I'm going to delete that. So what had happened is this is a furniture system. This is technically the family, but there was never a type created. So I'm going to create a new type. And now that I created a new type, I can drop that type in, right? But it was the same thing we were dealing with before, is where I was trying to drop the family, not the type. This one just didn't have a type already created, right? So I didn't have a drop down window for me. So I'll put this in this corner. Okay. And then maybe I want to put in this desk. And you can see that those aren't the same size. So I could go here to edit type and change the depth on it to, like, what's the depth on this? Let's see. Depth is 2 feet. So I could change the depth here to 2 foot. And I could copy this guy. Oop. It doesn't want to spin like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and rotate it. So sometimes you can use the space bar, sometimes you can't, and you just need to rotate. And then I could move that. There. So let's go ahead and drag that section view over now. And if I look at this inside on a section view, I can now see my desk. And so if I find like a computer, we could load that in. So let's go look at. I don't know if we'll find one. Cool. I get a laptop. Fine. Okay, so one thing, this is the reason that we utilize section views, is because a lot of times when we're in plan view, and I see this computer here, well, when I drag and drop this in, by default, it's going to want to drop it in at 0, right? And I don't know, I could go and investigate, but I don't truly know what the height is of that desk right now. Trying to see if I could get it to spin in a 45, but it looks like it doesn't want to. So if it doesn't want to spin at that 45 like I wanted it to, again, you can always place it and rotate it. Now, the one thing that we placed that computer, technically, if I scroll like this, right, it highlights, but where is it? Why aren't we seeing that? So
Under the desk.
Exactly. It's under the desk. And the way that we're viewing this is in a shaded format, right? Or even if we were looking in a hidden line, anytime that it's shaded and hidden line, consistent, texture is realistic, anytime it's anything but wireframe, your view stops at the surface, right? You're not going to view through that desk. The only time you can see through that desk is when we either make the desk transparent, which we could do. I could go to here and I could go into model categories and I could go to furniture and I could take this furniture right here. And I think it was furniture systems is what it was under. And I could change this transparency to like 80%, right? And when I do that, now I'm able to see through, right? Because I changed the transparency of the material and I didn't change anything. I'm still looking in hidden line, but since that is translucent, I can see through it. So if I back up, the only way to see that without affecting the material type is to go and look at it in wireframe. And in wireframe, you always look through everything, right? So you see in wireframe, you'll see the drywall, you'll see the studs, you'll see the plumbing inside the wall, you'll see the conduit, the wiring, right? You'll see all of that. Whereas in hidden line, you're just going to stop at the gypsum, right? You'll stop at that drywall and never see anything past it. So if I click wireframe, pretty easy to see it. Okay. Now I could click here and look and say, okay, I've got a 2'6" elevation. So I could come here and locate that at 2'6". But let's say I didn't know that elevation. What can I do here? Okay, so there it is right there, right? Here's this. There it is right there. It's this. It's behind this. So again, I could change this to wireframe and it'll make it a little easier to pick it up. So how might I elevate that?
How about the align tool?
Line tool. I love it. Okay. Where we want to go, top of the desk, what we want to move. Now this time, right, there's a lot of little lines right here. So in order to choose the right thing, there's a couple different options. Okay. So sometimes I will actually take this just because it's on this line. So like I can hit this align and then zoom in here and tab through it. And I can keep tabbing until I find exactly the right one. But does anyone know what the right line is? No, you don't. It's really hard to see. You can't, it's not popping up like just this bottom line of the laptop is coming up, right? We're seeing this whole thing. So sometimes in order to use your align tool, you have to move it. So this time I'm just going to move it down into the blank space. So I'm just going to drop it down 6 inches, right? Now that it's 6 inches away from the reference level, I have nothing obstructing it. So when I go to try to align this, still doesn't want to align. Okay. And some things are like that. Okay. Families, they're not perfect, right? Depending on how it's built, allows you to align it. Maybe it doesn't. Okay. So if it doesn't allow you to align it, how might you change that? We had another tool that we used earlier. How about move? Okay. I could just straight up move this. Now, one thing that it's not giving me for some reason, it's not really giving me snap points on this. And I'm not sure why, but if I type in DL, let's see if I can get it to snap there. Nope, nothing wants to snap on this family. Peculiar. Okay. So sometimes families like this, the best way is to just go ahead and let's say it's at 3 feet. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't know exactly what that is. I can't get a measurement off it. Okay, maybe you need to guess and check. Now I could go to 2.8, right? But instead of doing that, if it's something that's really funky, right? Let's go and take a look at where you're trying to move it. And if we look at the height of this, we can find out we got a 2.6 height there. So let's just go ahead and elevate this at 2'6". And now we sit on top of the desk. Okay. There's lots of different ways, and depending on the family, it may or may not behave the way that you want it to. And that's why this family was a really good one to pull out, because it didn't behave the way we wanted it to. It doesn't allow you to even move it with a base point. Okay? I can't even like click this top corner and get a snap on there, whereas normally I can do that. So sometimes you got to think outside of the box. Okay. Okay. 27th. Yep. Okay, so this was a good one. Let's go ahead and look at a couple more families that we bring in. Okay. What else do we need in this room? Oh, last but not least, real quick. I wanted this to be spun at 45 degrees, right? And when I was hitting my space bar, I could never get it to actually pick up an edge of something to turn it 45. So if you can't get that, you can always just rotate it 45. And now it's 45 degrees. And now I can sit here and work on that laptop, right? Maybe it's too far back. We could bring that up a little bit. All right, what else might we need in here? End table. Oh, get that guy. Okay, so we put a couple tables in there. Again, this one came in, but it doesn't have a type created. So we're going to right click, create a new type. And now when I drag that over, it will create an end table. And I can go ahead and take a look at it in section. Maybe I want to grab this one so I can see both the lights. Or both the nightstands, I should say. And okay, that looks pretty good. What if I wanted that stand to be taller? It doesn't look like so. Some families are built in a way that you can click on them and change the parameters on them, like that desk that we looked at, right? Where I was able to click this, edit the type of this one, and maybe I want to make this type let's call it 8-foot desk. And I could call it 8-foot desk, and then I could name it, have the width be 8 feet, right? So that has actual type parameters in there that will allow it to stretch and flex This table, on the other hand, okay, was built, and you can click on this edit type button. The only thing that it allows you to do is change the default elevation. Okay, maybe it'll allow us to change some finishes. We could change the finish on it. But as far as physical dimensions or size, there's nothing built into this family that will allow this to stretch and flex. So if you did want to build something that's different, okay, we could come in here. Let's say I did want to take this and I like this table, but I wanted to make it, I don't know. Let's see how far this is. Let's DL. So that table's roughly 1'8" across. So since it doesn't have any stretching parameters, I could go into here, into this edit type button, and I could come and I could rebuild this. Okay, now I'm not going to change the whole thing. Right, this is all kind of set right now, but you could come in here and I could come and edit the extrusion, and I could change the sweep here, or I could change, you know, one little thing, and let's see if I can go 12 inches. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, and now I kind of put a cool little spiral in here. Okay, so you can edit all of these parameters. They just may or may not be set up for you to parametrically edit them. Okay, but now that I like that, cool. Save changes to this. I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to make this a new type. 20-inch diameter. Cool. Load into project. Yes. And then I'll call this. Load into project will close. Yes. 1. Save. And now I could put in this table here. Now it looks the same, but you can see right here, if I go to my shaded, or if I go to realistic, let's see if I can get it to show that little, because you can see that little swirl. You can see the swirl in the picture right here. Trying to see if there you go. Now I can see it in 3D, right? So you can mess with any of these families and change them, flex them, stretch them, do whatever you want to them. All you need is a little bit of knowledge on how that works, right? So pretty cool. These are probably set up that you're just going to place it, right? You probably won't build different types. But at some point we might build something that you could edit this type, and let's see if this, so this one doesn't have, again, this doesn't have stretching parameters built into it. But again, things like that desk, things like these windows, right? All of these, we could go into here, edit the type. I could duplicate that type and make it let's make it 100-inch by 100-inch window. Okay. And then now I'm just going to change my size of it to 100 inches by 100 inches. And just like that, that whole thing updated to the size that we wanted it to be. So it's super powerful, right? Compared to what we were seeing in AutoCAD with just line work, right? You can stretch, you can move, you can change types. All these parameters are built in and super easy to use. Now, some of these may have parameters on the outside of the family, like this one, where we can change the physical location of it without changing the size, right? Whereas if you change this right here, if I change this without duplicating it and just make this one 30 inches by 46, if I change this right here to, let's just put in 6 feet. It's going to go ahead and change all of them, right? So if you change a type parameter, it's going to affect every type that is the same as what you're editing, okay? If you have a duplicate type, right? If we take this and now we make a duplicate and call it, 26 inches by 32 inches. Now I can make a specific type that is 26 inches by 32 inches, and it's only going to affect that one window. Okay. Now, if I had both of these selected, and I changed the type to that, I change them, they'll all update as well, right? So you can change the type, you can choose a new one, you can select different objects. Okay, all of them are going to alter the drawing in a different way. So the biggest thing is to understand is if you change a type parameter, it will affect all of those types. Okay, so if you want to make a new window that's a completely different size than anything else, we duplicate, we make a new one, and we name it, let's call this one 50 inches by 60 inches. Okay, and now I could come here, type in 50 inches by 60 inches. And that one window will now change to the 50 by 60, right? Because I created a new type. I didn't change the type that something else was assigned to. That makes sense? I know it's kind of convoluted, but this is really what makes Revit as cool as it is, because you can change all these types on the fly. You can change and you can edit dimensions, as long as these are built in a way that I look at this family and we look at it in a floor plan. As long as this is built in a way that has all these reference planes and has all of these different parameters set up, there's that width parameter. Okay, here's your, if I go to a elevation view and go to, here's your height parameter, right? So all of those are designed that when something is placed in here, these reference planes are going to stretch. And since that geometry is locked to the reference planes, it's going to stretch with it. Okay, so super cool. It's really what makes Revit heads and tails better compared to some of the other modeling softwares, is that you can use these types and actually create one window and now have 40 different types, and you didn't create 40 different windows, right? You just created one basic outline and then let the rest of it do the work, right? Just assign the parameters that you want for each type.
That's so much easier than blocks in AutoCAD.
It is
Having to
absolutely,
create
because
every
blocks,
single item.
even though blocks are a group, they're still static, right?
Right.
So this it's parametric. The whole thing is all based on the input of whatever the parameters are for that instance. Okay.
Hey, Graham, do you do, when you're placing your conduit and linear things like that, do you place them and space them in the same manner, or is it totally different? Just curious how you draw those in and make everything fit, That must be a pretty big challenge. So like when you have all those runs of conduit, and you got to make everything work.
Yep. It's tight, a lot of times. We have some really cool tools that we can utilize. So, I mean, there's the coolest thing about Revit, and I'll just show you this real quick as far as just you're asking about managing that kind of stuff. Let's go to systems. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a conduit just because you're asking about it. So let's go ahead and put the elevation of this at 5 feet. Why am I not seeing conduits being drawn? We don't have a work set on. Are they turned off in my plan view? Conduits are on. Got a wireframe, fine. Again, conduit. It doesn't really like to draw things for me today, huh? Middle elevation, 2 diameter. I mean, that's all right. Why is it not showing? You might want to check the active parameters and setting as well as a plan view reach. Oh, is there a plan view reach? Prop view. Nope, that's all the way out there. Okay. Reveal hidden elements. It's not there. So sometimes this is all about a game of trying to figure out why things draw and why things don't draw. EMT. Should be showing. Well, that's bizarre. I don't know why that's not. It's all showing. I don't have work sets. Can I draw a normal pipe? It's weird. Things are acting bizarre for me today. I don't understand why. Like I can't even draw a flex duct. Can I? Nothing's drawing in here. Well, I'm not sure why the conduit's not draw. Walls and everything else were. Yeah, that draws just fine. Weird. Anyhow, what I do though, a lot of times, just to answer your question, Todd, is I'll draw a single conduit, and then a lot of them will have, like, let's say they were feeders and we had 6 parallels. I can use a parallel tool that will allow me to just straight up copy them over and space them. Like, I want 4 wide with 2.5-inch spacing between the conduit. And I hit OK and it'll do it. So, but I don't know why it's being weird today. What? Wireframe, everything's on. That's the filters. Is there something here? Nothing got filtered out there. Weird. Systems. Oh, I know. We need to do phase filter, new construction, phase filter none. Let's go to your VG. Project, show all. None, and then discipline here. So the discipline was set to architectural and not to electrical, structural, plumbing, or anything else. I'm going to set it to coordination. When you set it to coordination, you can see all types of elements. Okay. That's why that conduit was a draw. It was drawing. It was there. Okay. It was just saying, hey, we're not allowing you to see anything except architectural elements right now. Okay. So when I do draw a conduit like that, like this, like, you know, maybe something that looks like this, right? I could then take this parallel conduits. How many do I want? I want 6 of them with my horizontal offset of 4-inch spacing between them, right? 4-inch. And now I could come here and hit tab. And then some of them, as it gets closer together, it may or may not allow you to draw that fitting, right? Just because it's too tight. Okay, but if you have something that's like this, right, where I don't have any constrictions, I can now hit this parallel conduits tool. And now I got 6 of them. Right. Let's say I could do that again. Let's say I want to change the spacing to 6-inch spacing. And I want it to be on this side. There you go. Okay, so there are tools like that that we can really use to help that spacing and help keep things straight and aligned. And because I don't want to draw, if I've got one run, but I got 20 conduits that are going the same place, I don't want to draw 20 conduits that I'm managing individually, right? I want to draw one and then parallel them off of that. Good question, though. Thanks for dealing with that while I found out why that didn't show. Again, sometimes in Revit, and this is what we go through daily, okay, is you will find things that I don't know why this isn't showing. I've got the conduits turned on here. I have, you know, a view template that's showing all my phasing, right? But until I went here and changed this to my discipline to coordination, I couldn't see anything except architectural, right? So there's always some little trick, right? And then you might just need to dig through it. And that's why understanding how this program works and how to use the visibility graphics, even knowing all of that, you still sometimes spend 10 minutes trying to get something to show up, right? So it's something that if you're frustrated with it, please let me know. I do not want you to get frustrated with it. Okay. So let's try and work that out if you do have something that you've got a frustration with. That it's just you can't see it, you can't, you know, and it may take a little bit of time to figure it out, right? You may need to go through a couple different steps and see. I've got a whole list of troubleshooting, like 30 different troubleshooting steps that when I can't see something, why am I not seeing it? Okay, is it a view range issue? Is it a category issue? Is it a filter issue? Is it a someone hit it in view? Is it a, you know, a systems, or in this time it was just based on the actual based on what's called, let's see, it's called the discipline, right? So it was the wrong discipline. And I always work in coordination just because then I can see everything. But when you get into new projects and new templates, a lot of times the things are set up a little differently, right? So we may have to go through it and massage it. Okay. Not a big deal. All right. Last but not least. Okay. Last thing I want to go over today is utilizing utilizing your project browser. So you can do a couple different things. You can search for stuff in here, but sometimes it's easiest just to go down here and find casework, right? Just go and look for what you're trying to find. Okay, there's casework in here. There is, and it might not be like if you use the search, sometimes you're looking too specific, right? Maybe I'm looking for this type of cabinet, but and in reality, this type was just called 27-inch, right? That's the type name on it. So I would never pull that up if I just tried to type in cabinet. It might pull up this family, but it's not going to pull up that type. So utilizing the project browser and actually opening up, if you want to open up any type of different category, you can open up like your conduits fittings, right? You can open up your light fixtures, and here's the different light fixtures I have, right? So it's a good thing to be able to know where you're going and browse through this. The other thing though is it gets pretty unwieldy when you get a lot of things opened up, right? So one thing I want you to get in the habit of is right clicking and collapse all. Okay, if you get it that you're scrolling for any period of time inside of this project browser, you've got way too many things open. Okay, and that's why that lovely collapse all button is there, because it's way too easy to get way, and like by the time you can expand all too, and you can see how, like, this is a lot of scrolling, right? If you had this all expanded and you're trying to find something, step back, collapse all, and then work it back out. Okay, families. Okay, I wanted to go find a door. Okay, I want to find, you know, a double flush door. Okay, there's my options, right? So right clicking, expanding what you need, and then also right clicking and collapsing is a great workflow. There's another really cool workflow, last but not least, is this tab workflow. So maybe right now we only have like 4 different views in this project, right? I got a 3D view, 2 section views, and a floor plan. Right now, I don't have a ton of tabs open, but if you had a ton of different views, right? And we had, I've got all, now you can see every time I duplicate this and open this up, it's opening up across the top, right? So you can see now I have 8 tabs open across the top. When I start getting too many tabs across the top, and you can do 2 things. One, if you like the tabs up there, you can utilize this drop down bar and actually select them a little bit easier. So if you've got a ton of names up there, the names will compress. You can select them this way. So that's this very right-hand caret that you're on top of your tabs. The other thing that you can do, and I use this all the time, same thing as down here where we were doing the collapse all, same concept. Up here, we've got this little red X, okay, and it says close inactive views. So if I had all these views open, and maybe I even have more, right? Let's just, whatever. I've got so many views, I can no longer see across my whole, like they're disappearing, right? I have so many views, they're disappearing. If I go to the view that I want to keep and hit this red X, it will shut down all the other windows. Okay. And so when you start getting too many views open, I really typically work with like 2 or 3 views open, right? A couple section views in your floor plan. Any more than that, and it's too much to be picking through. Okay. So utilizing that close inactive windows, especially once you get a bunch of tabs, can be a big lifesaver when you're trying to not be confused by what tabs you've got open, right? All right. Any questions today? I know we covered a lot. Next week, we're really going to, or not next week because we don't have class, but the next week when we get in here, we're really going to start utilizing this program now that we've pretty much gone through a lot of the basic commands and where to find things, right? Obviously, there's going to be questions and we're going to be diving farther into our visibility graphics menu and into our templates. But I think at this point, we've got a pretty good start for next 2 weeks. When you come in, I'll have something that looks something like this. Whatever. And I'll have some dimensions on it. And we're going to come in and I'm not going to help at the beginning. We'll go 15 minutes. But I want to see what you guys retain. Okay. So if I go here, I'm going to annotate this. And let's say it was, I'll give you some dimensions. And I won't give you angled walls like that. I'll make sure that they're all straight. But I'll give you some dimensions. I'll give you some placement of windows, placement of doors, and we'll start out by just doing a little exercise. Okay, see what you remember. At some point, I can't keep holding the hand forever, right? So letting you guys show me what you know by these little tasks at the beginning is a great way to not only refresh what you did last week, but show me that you are ready to move forward, right? And if you're not, then we can take a look at where we're struggling and alter our lesson as needed. So for today, I don't know if I have let's go to modules. Do I have one up there? Let's see. I think I do have a 113 class work. Okay. So it looks like it's a file upload. If you go ahead and take a screenshot, okay, in this class, this is the first time that we're doing actual file upload submissions. All I want is a screenshot until the final project. So if you just use your snipping tool and you just go new and new, and I click and drag, okay, take a screenshot of the work that you did. Save this as, here's admins 2025, and then I'll GMT week 2 screenshot or something. Okay, and then you can submit that in the 113 work folder. If you want to continue working on this, I am going to post my video. Last time it posted to Canvas. This is going to be longer, so I don't know if it will actually make it, but I was super surprised that last week's video actually did post to Canvas because it was over 500 megs, which is typically the threshold. So maybe Canvas is accepting more. Okay, but we don't want to be submitting actual Revit files. Okay, so if you want to continue, watch my video, work through this. I have no problem with you submitting this, this next week. If you're good with where you're at, go ahead and take a screenshot right now and submit it. Okay. Either way is fine with me. Okay. I just want to see some type of a screenshot showing, what work you did tonight. Okay. And if it's not complete, go ahead and wait for the video. Watch a few things, put a few things on there, and then take your screenshot, right? Okay, so go ahead, and then that's going to be right here. I'll show you where it is right here in modules. So if I go to modules again, I'll click view as a student so you can see what it looks like. Right here, 13th, if we go to class 113 classwork, you can go ahead and then just upload your file right there. Okay, again, please do not submit a Revit file. Okay, I just want a screenshot. When you submit a Revit file, I can't see it on Canvas. I have to download it, then open it up in Revit, and then all that jazz. And Canvas really isn't designed to hold those types of files, but screenshots work really well. Okay, so just posting the screenshot gives me the information that I need to show that you guys were here tonight. Cool. All right. I believe that there is still going to be a technology focus. Let's see. You're still going to have a technology focus for what's called laser point cloud scanning. Okay, so that's going to be due on the 20th. Even though we don't have class, we will still have that. And the quiz due. The quiz, again, remember, if you don't have the book yet, I've extended all the first 5 quizzes until February 3rd, right? So, Todd, you were able to get your book? Cool. So, is there anyone online here that doesn't have their book at this point?
Yes, I still don't have, but I hope it will be in the end of this week.
Okay, awesome. Right on.
The
If there's
bookstore
any
has a
issue
stack
getting it,
of them.
what'd you say, Daniel? Or
The bookstore has a big stack of them. I saw them yesterday.
how much were they?
$70, I think, something like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's why, yeah, if you've got, access to older versions on Amazon and that kind of stuff for sure. But it does sound like the bookstore has them. So if you need to go that route, that's fine too. Okay. I just try to keep you from spending more money that you don't need to, but.
Well, and you can download the PDF version on Amazon for like $30 too.
Okay, cool. That's a good tip. So I think that PDF version finally came out in like 2021. So right on. Okay, well, I will post the video.
Sorry, and where do you find the PDF version?
I think you can buy it from Amazon.
Oh, from Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called the Kindle version, but
Yeah,
it's the same
exactly.
thing.
Okay.
They'll just make you download the Kindle app or extension, whatever.
So
to
this right here, so this is the one I was saying, like, you can get this at $35, right? You don't necessarily need this new one. However, let's see right here. So you can get that one. You can also get the Kindle right here available instantly for $35 for either version. So you could get that and download it with one click, it looks like, if you are having trouble finding that book. Okay. I like a hard copy of it, but I think in today's society and everyone's searching stuff, PDF might not be a bad idea. So I might get myself one of those next year.
So Graham, it talks about installing a data set to follow along building the building inside the book.
Yeah.
You recommend doing that?
If you want to, absolutely. It's got the link for the data set right in there.
Correct.
Yeah, you can do it. I've done it. I did it when I first taught this. I downloaded it and went through every step of this book. Right. So I walked through and it's cool. I think it's definitely useful. If you are going to try to utilize the book and follow along, you do need that data set. Okay. Because it's going to pull up families that are pre-built for you. There's just stuff that it's going to direct you to and give you a library of resources essentially.
Copy.
So-
Yeah, I scanned through it. I think
Cool.
I know what you're saying. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's and definitely I mean, if you're going to utilize actually modeling in the book, having that data set is not a bad idea. Otherwise, it's going to be looking for things that you don't have necessarily, asking you to load something that you may not know what you're loading, right? But if you've got that data set and it's like, oh, load this, and you go browse it in the file and go find it, no big deal. So cool. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you on the 20th. The 27th. We will not have class on the 20th. Right. So no
Man.
class next week, MLK.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right. Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Graham. Have a good one.